Hello, sippers. I'm Martia.
I'm Demetrius.
And I'm Renee.
And welcome to this week's episode of Sip and Unwine True Crime Podcast. Hey, ladies. Hi, sippers.
Hey, ladies. Hey, sippers. Oh, dang. Oh, our girl Demetrius is not feeling good. Y'all heard
She
that.
isn't. Wow.
I am under the weather.
You want to try that? You want to try that whoop again? Try it one more time.
Okay.
Go ahead, girl.
Go on, do it one more time.
Hold on. Whoop, whoop.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, no.
So that's what we're working with tonight, sippers.
You get a pass for being a little bit quieter than usual this time. Okay.
I am under the weather, sippers.
Oh.
Wow.
I hope
We hope you feel better,
soon.
though. All jokes aside.
There better be jokes to the side.
Of course, you know we love you. All right, sippers. If you didn't already know, although we are a true crime podcast, we also discuss many other topics. So please make sure you keep listening after our case discussion because we have a few other segments you don't want to miss. Okay, ladies, let me get this little drink of the week out of the way before we get started. All right, sippers. Tonight, we're sipping on a Call Me a Cab, which is a pretty good vodka lemonade wine cocktail. Because y'all know we love our wine around here.
Yes.
So pretty much all you need for this cocktail is your vodka of choice. I'm going to have to get Renee to help me with this. The wine is Cabernet Sauvignon?
Sauvignon.
Okay, Sauvignon. That's what we're drinking on. So we got that wine.
How sexy.
Yes, and lemonade. And also, sippers, y'all know I got this thing about pretty drinks. So if you pour the drinks ingredients right, you'll get a cute ombre display in your little glass or whatever. So mine came out okay. It's a little ghetto over here. How did y'all little ombre mix turn out on y'all end, ladies?
I can never get mine to do that ombre thing. It just never works right. So I just spin it all, stir it all up, and it's just all good. Mm-hmm.
Right.
It'd be looking pretty on videos when people are able to do that, but yeah,
Right.
I can never get it.
What about you, Demetrius? How did yours turn out?
I have no bartender skills. None.
It's okay. It all goes down the same. But as always, sippers, the full recipe will be posted on our IG, Facebook, and Twitter pages. Now, before I begin speaking on this case, I want to acknowledge the people that these crimes have left a lasting impact on. We want to send our heartfelt sympathy to not only the survivors, but also the loved ones and friends of all the victims we are about to discuss.
Absolutely.
Okay, ladies and sippers, today's case takes us back to the year 2013 and takes us over to Montgomery, Alabama. So tonight I'm going to discuss the case of Marquis Cheatham and his mistress, Dominique Atkins. The victim in this case is 20-year-old Ashley McCarthy. Dominique Atkinson grew up in Wilmington, North Carolina. She grew up with both her mom and her dad. But even after her parents broke up, they remained living under the same roof to provide a certain structure for Dominique. Dominique's parents spoiled her growing up, and she had a lot of friends. By the time she was 16 years old, Dominique had her first child and had dropped out of high school. Since her parents took care of her, she didn't have to worry about getting a job. During this time, Dominique had several relationships, and by the time she was 20 years old, she had had 2 more kids and was pregnant with baby number 4. Dominique's friends say she was known to go after military men because she wanted the military benefits, as well as a man who would take care of her as well as her parents did. When Dominique was 5 months pregnant, she met Lance Corporal Marquis Cheatham through one of her friends. Dominique didn't tell Marquis she was pregnant right away, but when she finally told him she had 3 kids and 1 on the way, he was excited and didn't mind because he loved kids.
1 on the way? Oh.
Yeah, she met him when she was 5 months pregnant with baby number 4. Yes.
That's an interesting combination.
But Marquis had a secret himself. He revealed to Dominique that he was married and his wife, Ashley McCarthy, was living back in his hometown of Montgomery, Alabama. Marquis and Ashley grew up together and were high school sweethearts, and after graduation, they had eloped in 2011. At the time, Ashley was living with her father, and Marquis told Dominique that she was living with him because they were on the verge of getting a divorce. Marquis and Dominique had a whirlwind romance. When Dominique had her baby girl a few months later, Marquis took care of her and the 4 kids like they were his own. Marquis moved Dominique into an apartment. Marquis took care of Dominique just like she had wanted. Meanwhile, back in Montgomery, Alabama, Ashley had no idea about an alleged divorce, and she knew nothing about Dominique. The only thing Ashley knew was that the money for her bills was no longer coming in for Marquis, and she was struggling financially. Ashley tried reaching out to Marquis for answers, but he was ducking and dodging her calls. And then when he did answer, he didn't really give her much of a conversation. Ashley decided to call Marquis's commanders to tell them that he wasn't taking care of her. She told them she wasn't getting any of the money or benefits she was entitled to. And as a result of that call, Marquis was reprimanded by his commanders. They told him to get his act together, and they said he needed to make things right with his wife. And so, sippers, for those who don't know, the military does not take kindly to anyone cheating on their spouse. So, of course, when Marquis got in trouble, that made him livid because he felt like Ashley was messing up his money and his career. Marquis was so upset he wanted Ashley out of his life and out of his life for good.
The funny part is how they be getting mad at the other people when they're the one who did it. You know, like that don't even okay, bro.
Right. Like you mad at her. You over
you
here
put yourself
living
in
this
that
whole
situation.
double life.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like
the nerve.
It's crazy. Exactly. By this time, Marquis and Dominique had been together for 9 months. When Marquis told Dominique what Ashley had done, Dominique agreed to do whatever she needed to do to help Marquis get rid of Ashley. On March 30th, 2013, Dominique and Marquis decided to make the 9-hour drive from South Carolina to Alabama, and they both told friends they were going out of town to take care of business with Marquis's divorce. But they really didn't get into all the details on what they were really going there for, and they just told a brief little story. When the couple arrived in Montgomery, Marquis decided to stay at his mother's house. The first thing Marquis did was reach out to his wife, Ashley, who was unaware that he was back in town. He had lied and told Ashley he was catching a late flight to town and he wanted her to pick him up from the airport. Meanwhile, Dominique drove Marquis to the airport and dropped him off right before it was time for Ashley to arrive. So basically, the couple just played it to where they acted like he came in on that late flight, and Ashley had no idea that Dominique was even there with Marquis. So once Ashley got there, her and Marquis started talking. They even went to get Waffle House or whatever, but they began arguing, and they were arguing from the time they was at the airport, and they got in Ashley's car. Things got super intense. So while they were in the car, Marquis pulled out a gun and made Ashley drive him back to his mother's home where Dominique was waiting. Dominique was willing to do anything Marquis wanted her to do, and she was willing to do anything she could in order to keep her new man. So Dominique was at the house waiting on them to pull back up, and basically they ambushed her. Marquis had Dominique force Ashley into the trunk of her own car, and Marquis gets in the driver's seat, and then he tells Dominique to get in his car and follow behind him. So they drive off from Marquis's mother's house, and they made a stop near some woods about a mile away. And I'm not sure what made him stop, but it was at that time that Ashley pulled the safety latch in her trunk, and she hopped out and tried to run. Yeah,
go
she
girl,
tried to get away. Yeah. But when Marquis saw his wife running, he pulled out his gun and started chasing her down.
Gosh.
Isn't that crazy? So he gets out chasing Ashley down the street because they're like in this residential neighborhood, basically. He started shooting at Ashley, and he ends up shooting her twice in the back. Ashley collapsed, but she was able to get up and start running again. And she actually made it to the stairs of a nearby home and collapsed again on their front porch. But Marquis was right behind her and walked up on her. And as Ashley laid there begging for her life, he stood over her and shot her point blank in the front of her head. And remember, sippers and ladies, this was a woman that he had dated for many years, and he considered her his high school sweetheart. So how do you get from that point to this?
Right.
Man. I mean, I just don't understand. So Marquis ran away after he shot Ashley in cold blood. Dominique helped Marquis hide Ashley's car behind an abandoned building. Then the couple went to Marquis's mother's house to clean up and change clothes. Marquis did get rid of his gun, Ashley's keys, and her purse. And then he and Dominique drove back to Wilmington that same night. Ashley's body wasn't found until later on that morning by a woman who was walking her children to school and the resident of the house that she was murdered in front of. Now, other residents who lived in the area where the crime occurred said they heard several gunshots and a woman pleading for her life. So I don't understand why it took several hours for her body to be found, but during the crime scene investigation, at least 5 shell casings were recovered. Now, with that being said, I still can't wrap my mind around how Ashley's body wasn't found until several hours after the crime occurred. Like, they heard at least 5 gunshots. Even though Marquis and Dominique had fled the area, Ashley's father, Freddie, was able to place Marquis in town because his daughter let him know she was meeting her husband at the airport. Investigators also pulled phone records, and based on the activity, they were able to arrest both Marquis and Dominique from that evidence. So 2 days after Ashley's murders, when they were arrested, Marquis was extradited to Alabama to face a capital murder charge, And of course, he tried to deny that he was even in Alabama at the time of the murder. But when police brought out phone records, he confessed to killing Ashley. But he also tried to claim everything was a blur. Dominique admitted to being at the murder scene, but she told investigators that she had no idea Ashley was going to be killed by Marquis. She was trying to do that whole thing about, well, I knew that was going to be something that was going to happen, but I just didn't think it was going to go that bad. But I don't know. When you're carrying a gun to commit a crime, it's kind of like you're not thinking nobody going to lose their life.
Yeah, you know what's going on. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Freddie said he thought Marquis was someone who loved his daughter. Freddie said he had known his son-in-law for years, and he never expected something like that would happen between them. He said he knows his daughter wasn't expecting it either. Freddie said Ashley loved to volunteer at nursing homes, and she also traveled to various states to feed the homeless. Freddie said Ashley's death has been very hard on her relatives. While Freddie believes the motive for the crime against his daughter was life insurance, prosecutors felt that Marquis believed Ashley was trying to destroy his military career, and he was afraid she wouldn't sign divorce papers so he could be with Dominique. And that right there is crazy to me, because even if it was life insurance, you're not going to get it.
Right.
And the fact that he felt like Ashley was trying to destroy his military career that you no longer have, I don't understand why people think murder is going to solve all their problems. But anyway, Dominique loved Marquis so much, she never turned on him, and she ended up pleading guilty to murder. So initially, like I said, she tried to act like, well, I didn't know the girl was going to get killed or whatever, but then she ends up turning that all around and just pleading guilty to murder. So they were both sentenced to life in prison. Dominique will be eligible for parole after the age of 32, and 3 of her kids are being raised by relatives, while 1 of her kids was adopted. But at this time, Dominique and Marquis, they no longer communicate with each other. That is just so terrible.
Yeah.
So basically, Ashley lost her life for absolutely no real reason.
Nothing.
Wait a minute. So he lost his long-term girlfriend and the side piece.
He lost his wife, yeah, and the side piece.
And his side piece, because they no longer
Right.
communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And you're in a cell for the rest of your life. And all you had to do was just be like, okay, girl, I want to get a divorce.
Right.
That's it. And I feel like it's amazing the problems that a divorce could solve, but instead people want to kill their spouse. I don't understand that. But anyway, sippers and ladies, my sources for this case were TV Ones for My Man, News Channel WSFA 12, and MontgomeryAdvisor.com. So that's where I gathered all my information from for this case. Okay, ladies, it's time to close the book on the case of Marquis Cheatham and Dominique Atkin.
Yes.
Man,
Thank you.
Well,
that's such a
the
sad
book.
story. Yeah.
Right.
So sad.
All right, ladies and sippers, I have 2 more segments. This next one is a talk and sip. So basically, sippers, we got a little topic. We're going to be sipping and we're going to talk about this topic. So I saw a question on the Spiritual Word Instagram page, similar to the one I'm about to ask, but what's making me want to bring this up is the fact that the conversation in the comment section was pretty interesting. So ladies, let me ask you this. If your friend expresses interest in a guy, and let's say maybe they had a few conversations, but it ended up not going anywhere. Now that same guy is interested in talking to you or dating you or whatever, and then you actually think he's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Is that guy off limits to you or no?
Oh my goodness.
So wait a minute. Say that again. Okay, so your friend and this guy already talked a
They
little
did. They didn't go out. They didn't. That's why I say it didn't end up going anywhere. They didn't even go on any dates because they started talking and realized chemistry's not there.
Was it talking like on the phone, or was this like when they was around? They kind of was.
It just says they had a few conversations, so I really didn't think that far ahead.
Because I'm trying to think, because it depends. Like if
How
it was like
deep is
because
it?
that person is around and then they start talking, you know, in person, but it's different. Like if they actually had like phone conversations and.
Let's say they did have a phone conversation or 2.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and just say they
Okay.
did.
I'm going to say, excuse me, sippers, for my voice. Off limits. I don't want it.
Right. Off limits.
Yeah, I don't want them. Because why am
I can't see.
why am I
I'm trying to
second?
think of a scenario where I would be like, well, it's okay. But I'm just like, yeah, like, no.
No.
I don't think so.
No. I'm answering for Renee. No.
Yeah.
And based on Renee's question, so let's look at it the other way too. So they had a few conversations, but they were only in person. So however you would kind of
Yeah, that don't
about
count
it.
then, really.
So that doesn't count.
Because they was like you're just around, so somebody just talking, you know. But I don't
No.
know. Not even you can't even have a conversation if they were just all in the same scenario, in the same area.
No.
If he just said, "Hey, how you doing?" and she was like, "Oh, I think he's kind of cute."
No.
But then it didn't go anywhere past that. It's still no.
No.
So tell me why it still would be no.
Because I feel like I'm seconds.
But if he just said hi,
Oh,
No.
Okay. So that's what you're saying. He liked your friend first. You just like, don't even come over this way because you didn't like me first.
Correct.
So what? Okay, so it's so that he actually liked this person. I was thinking it was the other way around, that she kind of liked him and they spoke, but then she figured that it wasn't.
I definitely did word it if your friend expresses interest in the guy.
Okay.
So that's how it was worded.
So however, what if he didn't even know about
that? If he's entertaining her and just figured out, okay, well, nah, she really ain't my type, then it kind of doesn't mean he was feeling her first, because that's not how it was worded.
No.
Demetrius ain't feeling that.
You still with it?
Period.
It's too many men out there, so no.
I'm with you, Renee. It would just really depend. I think when I was younger, like high school, early teens. Now, if they had sex or went on dates, I don't know. That's a whole different thing. That's a I wouldn't want to get involved or whatever.
I don't even care. No.
It would have to be. I don't know what the stipulations would be, but that to me is kind of like, okay, that would be off limits. But I think it will also depend on how close I am to that girl.
Right.
Associates.
That's true. That's
friends
true.
I don't hang out with a whole lot. That's different. But if it's one of my really, really good friends, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
But some of the comments were saying that, you know, when folks are grown, there shouldn't be any off limits rules with scenarios like this.
What?
Because they were like, what if that's your soulmate?
That's
okay,
true.
it didn't work out with your friend.
Oh, well, no,
okay, but they didn't have no romantic relationship. You know, didn't go that far. So why you can't talk to that person too and try it out or whatever?
Yeah.
So I kind of get that point.
No.
And if two people didn't like each other, at the end of the day, saying like, why do you even care? Like, if you didn't hit it off with this guy,
right. Like
then nobody should really care if he dates somebody else in your circle,
unless you really do care, and then that would be the issue, you know. But
and I think now as an adult, if I didn't hit it off with the guy, I would want to see my friend happy. You know what I'm saying? But now if it was somebody that I dated, went out with or whatever, no, I would be so irritated if somebody called themselves dating an actual ex. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. No.
So this situation is totally different from that. That's not an ex.
Yeah. If y'all seen each other naked and stuff, that's like a no.
No.
We hear your no loud and clear.
Thank you.
I mean, yeah, she ain't changing either.
Nope.
Not a little bit. Not even.
I don't
change the scenarios around. Not if we switch it up a little bit.
No.
She is not playing. All right, so that's it. That was my little talking sip. To me, the question was kind of elementary, but it ended up being such a big discussion amongst adults. I don't know. I've never had this scenario come up as an adult.
No.
All right, ladies and sippers. So this next segment is a random wind down. And as I was perusing Beyonce's internet, I came across a BuzzFeed article titled Shocking Secrets and Stories About Marriage, Affairs, and Weddings in 2022. So I saved about 9 of these. So I just want to read these out to you. We can talk about some of them or not. All right, so these are basically little short stories that people sent in for this article. So number 1, this person said, I married when I got pregnant, but my husband became abusive. So what did I do? I had an affair with another man for 12 years. I was having sex with my husband and my lover. I had 3 children whom I truly believe were my husband's. During the divorce, the DNA proved 2 of my 3 children were not my ex's biological sons. It was a shit show.
Whoa.
The person says, I regret lying. I regret having an affair. All 3 of my children have disowned me, but I do not blame them. Now that's crazy. Talk about a plot twist.
She knew.
My thing is, how you go from being abused to not only staying but having an affair for your revenge? That's crazy.
She knew those 2 weren't.
Exactly. And then all 3 of your children disown you. That's crazy. All right. So number 2, I worked at a music venue in the Detroit area that was also a popular wedding reception location. Came into work one week in the fall when pretty much every weekend is booked solid with weddings. And I noticed Saturday was open with no one scheduled. Talked to the wedding planner and she told me the groom canceled. Spoke to the wedding planner's younger brother who was a barback, and he told me that the groom was excited about the wedding. He left work at lunch on Friday, brought a nice bottle of wine, and headed home to surprise his bride-to-be. Except he was the one in for a surprise as he walked into his new house to hear sounds coming from the bedroom. He walked in to find his bride in bed with another man who happened to be his dad.
Oh.
We tried to talk him into doing a big FU party because we'd never fill the space, but there was no refund and he declined on throwing that party.
Yeah.
That is that's pretty sad. Walking in on your wife and there's your dad. Yeah, exactly.
No comment.
Talk about being a whore. Good grief.
Yeah.
Number 3, my biggest regret is having children. I graduated in 1991. We were married in July of the same year. Hubby and I were happy in our marriage. However, having our first baby when I was 20 and our second at 21 wasn't a good idea. We went on to have a total of 6 kids.
Damn.
Of those 6, only 3 still speak to me. If I could do it all over again, I wouldn't have had kids at all. It's pretty crazy.
I mean, I guess.
But I was wondering, like, how many women, if they could admit it without being seen, would actually say, I regret having kids?
Say that out loud. I know.
All right. So
well, I'm just kidding.
Do members of the congregation have something to say? That well sounded like you was going to give us a little spill or speech.
Well, I seen it on TikTok. The women are like regretting.
Oh my gosh. And they said that on TikTok?
Yeah, on TikTok. Wow.
That should stay out there forever.
All right. Number 4, a couple weeks before the wedding, groom called bride and said he was coming over. They needed to talk. When he got to her apartment, he broke down in tears and confessed that he was in love with someone else. He loved her, but couldn't marry her because he didn't love her in a way that a bride deserved. There was much crying and shouting over it all, but eventually the bride recovered from the news enough to ask him who he was in love with. The groom said, "It's your brother." The wedding was definitely...
Okay.
The wedding was definitely off at that point, and now 5 or 6 years later, the groom and the bride's brother are actually happily married.
Oh my God.
I lost contact with the bride shortly after her wedding plans went tits up. Is what this is.
Oh,
this is a quote. So I'm not sure if she ever forgave the boys for that one. That's crazy. There's already enough dealing with somebody talking about they don't love you, but then how do you and your brother end up hooking up? That's crazy. All right, number 5. She gave me her phone to look for an address and make a restaurant reservation for our 7-year anniversary. But someone sent her a video on WhatsApp, and the next message said tomorrow again, ? Now, I'm not one of those people who normally checks on my partner's phone, but I was curious and clicked on it. And there was a full 2-minute video of her cheating on me with 2 men.
Oh my gosh.
Needless to say, there was no anniversary dinner. That's crazy.
Ooh.
That's wild.
What?
Well, that's what you get for clicking on the phone. I mean,
you cheating with 2 men, having a threesome, and you're recording it. That's sick.
Yeah, and keeping it on your phone, on your main phone.
Wow.
You actually
and then got the nerve
it.
to give somebody your phone to use it. That's another thing that's crazy. All right, number 6. These are crazy. I met my now husband when we were 16. I was smitten, but as an awkward teen, I had no idea if he felt the same. We remained friends, graduated high school, and then life took us in different directions. We both went on to marry and start families with other people. One day, 20 years after meeting, I found my high school crush on Facebook. I friended him, and I was immediately flooded with feelings I had for him when we were teens. He was recently divorced and starting over. I quickly unfriended him after a friend who could see how I felt about him threatened to tell my husband. I was devastated. After many years of unhappiness and a loveless marriage, I was despondent. Then at one of my part-time jobs, there he was, my crush. I immediately felt 16 again. We fell right into sync, and I succumbed to how intense my love was for him. I told him how I felt, and he felt the same. We had a secret affair for 6 months until my husband found out. We immediately were divorced. That was 10 years ago. I've now been married to the love of my life, my true love, for the last 8 years. I would do it all over again. Hands down, the best thing to ever happen to me. That's crazy.
Well, okay, winner. Chicken dinner.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody talks about affairs. They're bad to have, whatever. And here she done found the love of her life. But that's crazy because people had to get hurt in that process. But my question for you ladies, when you think back to your little high school days or your little middle school days or even elementary school days, is there anybody that comes to mind that you would love to hear from now all these years later?
No.
Hey, Demetrius.
Well, she shared when we had our YouTube channel, she wasn't even into nobody her age anyway. So
no,
I'm not surprised to hear that.
Even during that time when it was her age, like in her high school, like nobody that you was.
No.
Okay.
This call is being monitored for quality assurance.
I know, right?
How about you, Renee?
Well, yeah, I think everybody, most of the people who I kind of messed with back in the day, I could still be kind of friendly to them today.
Okay.
Like it was never ever like I've never had like one of those kind of dramatic breakups and stuff that happens where it's like we can't even be in the same room together and even be cordial or it was just like it just didn't work out. Move on, you did that or whatever.
Right.
But I mean, Yeah, like yeah, I can still be friendly with her like everybody.
Got it. Oh, you like everybody. That's so
Yeah.
funny.
For the most part, ain't nobody been real total assholes.
Oh.
I mean, like
right.
I can't think of any that I would like not want to.
Do you think it would be a whirlwind romance like what she described in this little post here?
No.
Yeah.
No, not like that.
That's interesting. Exactly.
Man, that was a quick no.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Number 7. While working the night before a wedding at a hotel, the staff and I heard a loud scream from upstairs. Cue the bride screaming, sobbing, and shouting. The wedding's off, is what she said while storming out. She was followed by the groom, stark naked, covering his nether regions with his hands and apologizing profusely. Turns out the bride caught her mother and the groom hooking up.
Oh, wait a minute. The bride caught her Oh, ew.
Right.
Just nasty. Just nasty.
Oh yeah, it's over.
Like, you got old coochie just riding on you. Oh, that's
gosh, I wouldn't even be able to look at my mama the same way after that.
I wouldn't talk to my mom anymore. Like that.
Yeah, like I don't even think that we would even.
I wouldn't even. There's no recovering from that. I'm sorry, there just isn't. That's crazy.
You wouldn't give your mama another chance.
No way.
And why is he running behind her like he gonna save the day?
That's so nasty.
Just nasty.
And then you think, well, how long has that been happening? Because for them to be
because that ain't the first time.
Exactly, because y'all at the venue at this point. Like y'all been kicking it for a minute.
The wedding day.
Yeah. So the person who sent this one that says, safe to say we had an easy shift the next day because we didn't have a wedding to cater for.
I know that's right.
So this was the day before the wedding. They probably had
just have a party. We'll just have a party since I paid for all this stuff. It's already paid for. We just gonna have a big party.
That's crazy. And as a mother, how would you even try to recover from that? You can't.
You can't come back from that. I don't care how dysfunctional your relationship is to begin with.
Exactly.
You can't never explain that
There's
one.
something deep rooted there for a mother to even look at her daughter's man like that. Like that's just All right, number 8. A week before his wedding, a friend of mine walked in on his dad having sex with his fiance. The next day, in a fit of rage, he trashed their room and in the process found explicit love letters between his fiance and his recently married best friend in her underwear drawer. The letters were as recent as the past week. The wedding was canceled. Whenever I ran into this guy at the bar, I made sure he never had to buy his own drinks. That's pretty crazy. So your soon-to-be wife was having sex with your dad and your best friend? Like, that takes 4 to a whole nother level.
Everybody.
Right. Ooh. All right, here's the last one. Number 9. At the bachelor party in Vegas, the groom hooked up with a woman and gave her his cell phone number so they could continue the party that night. The bride-to-be was sitting at home with the iPad, getting all the iMessages.
I was about to say, ooh, yep.
So she canceled.
When you connect all them devices, yep.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy. So she canceled the wedding that day.
Yes.
Crazy. Yeah. I've heard 2 crazy iMessage stories where the couple had gone on a trip and the wife gets a message from her guy that she was cheating with.
Yep,
and they went to Disney, yes. So the dad got the messages. I think one of the kids might have got it first. I can't even remember. The whole family had all this stuff synced together. But anyway, the dad left or whatever. And then, I don't know if this was an iMessage situation, but anyway, it was one of these, like, you got your phone and it's syncing somewhere else.
That cloud gonna get it. Got a lot of people
That
in
was
trouble.
it. I think it was the cloud. The woman found pictures that the man had of this kid, and it was a 5-year-old that he had during their marriage.
Oh.
And he was engaged to 2 other women.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a truck driver.
Laying low and spreading the wine.
I was like, wow, how you married with 2 fiancés and a baby?
I mean, I guess you can pull that off when you're a truck driver. I mean, don't want to put that out there too much, right? But truck drivers can have whole nother lives and you won't know.
Exactly. That was so crazy.
Ooh.
Yes, scandalous.
Ooh, I like that.
So yeah, that was 9 of those crazy, shocking secrets and stories about marriage affairs and weddings in 2022. So yeah, that's what's going on out here in these raunchy streets or whatever. Yeah, you got to be safe out there, folks, I guess.
Right. And it looked like it's just family doing family members.
That's what I said. There was a theme there, wasn't it? Yeah. from brothers to sisters to mamas and daddies. Yeah, that's
Just
pretty
nasty.
crazy. Exactly.
Mm.
But anyway, ladies and sippers, we are at the end of this week's episode. As always, that time goes by so fast.
I know it does.
I mean, we just got started and here it is over. But anyway, sippers, make sure that if you're not following us on our social media platforms, that you are following us by the time you get done listening to this episode. Hit the like, share, and subscribe button. We're on Twitter, YouTube, Podbean, Facebook, Instagram. We're everywhere, basically. So wherever you can listen to the podcast, you're going to see Sipping on Wine over there too. So
we there.
Anyway, sippers, we hate to leave, but
we gotta go.
It's been real, y'all.
All right. Bye, sippers.
Bye, ladies. Bye, sippers.
Bye.